In this online course design session, we will explore making a CTL course template your own. To get started, I'd like to distinguish between two types of online course design. The first being a synchronous course design or live online classes. And in this type of a course design, we use a remote tool for synchronous instruction. Tools that are supported through MCC are WebEx, Premium Classroom, and Google Hangout Meet. So maybe I would choose one of those tools for my synchronous instruction. Students should have access to those synchronous, so the live online classes, a recording of it that can be posted in Canvas. Also that students would be able to access the assignments that you post in Canvas, and that's where they would submit their assignments. It's also, in this type of a course design, you would use Canvas to make announcements, and then possibly a remote tool such as the WebEx or Google Hangouts Meet or Cranium Cafe for synchronous office hours. This is a more formalized definition of live online classes that were put together by folks in our district office. Well, I should say across our district. And the idea is that live online classes have live online sessions that meet on specific days and times. Students should know when they sign up for one of these classes what the days are ahead of time. So ideally that would be posted in SIS for them to sign up for knowing the specific days and times. Attendance for the live online sessions would be mandatory, and then the additional online work that's not synchronous could be included during the duration of the class, and those would have set due dates. And that students would need to have access to a computer or mobile device and internet access unless otherwise specified. And I think that's an interesting note because the idea here is perhaps maybe the synchronous portion of the class is something that students would do over the phone. And that it's possible that proctoring fees could apply for exams. So in a prior session that I had with faculty, I asked them to brainstorm plus and deltas for live online classes. So what would work in this type of environment? What's positive? What's a plus for this environment? And what's a challenge? And they generated some great ideas. So a benefit to a live online course is student engagement, and that we're actually hearing students' voices. They're able to talk to each other and to their instructor. They get immediate feedback in a synchronous environment. There's a lot of human interaction, and it's a great opportunity to clarify instructions. Maybe instructions that are in an assignment in Canvas, you're able to clarify through synchronous instruction, or to give examples and have students give examples. Potential deltas are that we tend to overdo what we put in the online environment sometimes, and that can be confusing for students to compensate for in-person sessions. Just the simple idea of technology literacy. We're learning all the time in the CTL that students and our instructors are struggling with setting up and using their microphones and their speakers, that there are real issues with bandwidth. So if I have a session with 25 or 30 students in it, that if everybody has their camera on, that it could have bandwidth issues and connectability, and just knowledge of the software for students to use in the course. So there's some plus deltas for this type of an online course design. We have two different styles of design, the synchronous one that I just explained, and then asynchronous course design, which essentially is on your time online classes. In this type of an online course, we're primarily using Canvas for our instruction. And the recommendation would be to develop modules or units in Canvas for students to construct knowledge, almost like a linear process to construct knowledge for what you're teaching. So in this type of an online class, I use Canvas pages for instruction with a blend of videos and text and links. Students can interact with the content with practice quizzes or note-taking assignments. Maybe there's a blog that you put up there, interactive pages for students. And then I evaluate student learning with assignments, discussions, and quizzes. This type of a course increases student access because they can access the materials on their own time. So that would help with maybe internet being spotty, or if I have things going on at home and I can't access the course at a specific time for this day. Developing the course units as you go, so you can consider maybe developing the first 2 units in your course, and then based on how students are performing, which concepts they understand, the muddy points, you can then develop the other modules based on the learner's needs. And that you could still use synchronous discussions, one of those remote tools, for virtual office hours or for some informal discussions. Here's our formal definition that we have from colleagues in the district, that these on-your-time online classes do not meet at specific class times. The coursework must be completed according to deadlines, and students are required, similar to the other, to have access to computers or mobile devices and internet, and that proctoring fees may still be applicable for exams. And again, I had asked colleagues in a prior session to share some plus deltas for an on-your-time asynchronous online course design. Their ideas were that this gives more control to the students in scheduling. Maybe the evening time is the best time for them to do their class, not necessarily to meet at a daytime class session. It's more self-paced, and that they could potentially resolve any technical issues before they have to consume the information or turn in the assignment, versus being in a live class and having technical issues and missing what's going on. But there's deltas to this environment, that there tends to be limited opportunity to interact with other students and to interact with the instructor, and that it can be easy for students if there isn't this human connection, right? This accountability to meet in person, to fall behind and to procrastinate. With both of those scenarios, we talked about a remote tool, and I'm going to encourage you to explore WebEx as a synchronous tool that you might integrate into your course. I feel like we've learned during this pandemic, being away from each other physically has brought us together virtually, and WebEx is something for you to consider to put into your course to really build upon what's happening right now with this virtual contact and interaction. And I'm going to recommend that you use the Maricopa instance of WebEx. There's an MCC instance of WebEx and a Maricopa instance. The Maricopa instance, it actually is already fully integrated with Canvas, so it's easy to activate and feel more confident in the longevity of the Maricopa instance being available to you. So to access it, you go to maricopa.webex.com, and you're going to use your meid@maricopa.edu as the email to log in. On this slide, I have a link to the Maricopa website, and I want to show you some of the tools that are available, or the materials that are available on our district website. The district office put together an anywhere computing website for faculty, employees, and students. You scroll down here, this bucket is the same image that I put on the slide deck, and if I click on this link, you have access to a comparison guide for different products within WebEx. There's some quick start guides, tutorials for you to use as an instructor for how to start meetings and how to facilitate and record those. And then there's also, on the prior page, there's tutorials and guides for students. So this is an excellent resource for you to use if you want to integrate WebEx into your online course for this synchronous live online type of instruction, or even just kind of low stakes opportunities to interact with students, if even for office hours. So we explored types of online courses, 2 different types of online courses, and you have access to remote tools. So now let's really dive into thinking about Canvas and designing your course. And so I'm going to ask you, what's your Canvas purpose? So really think about, how do I want to use the features and the tools in Canvas to teach my course? And the first thing that I'd like to reference is this course mapping tool. If you attended the online course planning session, we spent some time on this mapping tool. I'm going to encourage you to use either this course map or something similar to sketch out the content that's going to go into your course. The document, you can access it in this live link here. It's a Google Doc. The document looks like this. And so there's a space, there's a link here for you to access your Maricopa course competencies. based on your course competencies, other program requirements, maybe academic skills that you intend to teach your students, in particular habits of mind about your discipline. I would encourage you to write course level outcomes. And remember that when you write an outcome or an objective, that we start with a verb because it's an action. And then the document that you'll have access to is clustered into modules or units. And so what you would do is, once you come up with all of your course level outcomes or objectives, that you're now starting to refine and create units, and that for each unit that you teach, it would have specific objectives for students to meet in that unit. Again, starting with a verb for the level of knowledge, the depth of knowledge you want them to get to. And then for each unit, once you have your objectives, that you will start to sketch out or write, which materials do I already have that I want to continue to use? Which ones do I need to refine? What materials do I need to find to teach this concept? Because maybe previously you did this in class as a lecture or as an activity in class, and now I have to find a new material to teach this. What are the things that our students are going to do to interact with these materials? And then how am I ultimately going to evaluate student learning? So low stake, no stakes ways to interact, and then which assignments are going to be higher stakes to evaluate student learning of the unit objectives, which align to my course objectives. So I take that plan and I've designed my course. And so the first resource that I want to show you is the Continuity of Instruction page on the CTL website. And on this page, you will find a survey of resources for designing your course and the CTL online course templates. So on the Continuity of Instruction page, you have different ideas of considerations for when you're putting your course together. There are Canvas tutorials. If you're not familiar with the learning management system, you can engage with these tutorials. There's resources for you to lecture capture, which means I'm going to record myself, either just speaking a lecture or with a slide deck or PowerPoint or an infographic behind me. So you can record it and you can share that recording with students. There are all sorts of tutorials about remote instruction tools, including WebEx, which I had talked about earlier, proctoring tools. And then at the bottom of this page are the Canvas course templates that I want to share with you. So what we put together here are two different course templates that you can use for your online course design. The first template is for the synchronous live online course that we talked at the beginning of this workshop. And so in this template, there are buttons for students to connect to your live online sessions in the navigation menu for the course. And then there are assignment templates so that you can post your assignments to Canvas and students can submit them in Canvas. The second course is a bit more robust. It's for asynchronous, on your own time online course design. And this course is designed with modules for students to access your course content, to interact with materials, and then ultimately for you to evaluate learning. The screencast will give you step-by-step instructions for how to access the course templates. They're linked to that page. So these are Canvas export files, and you download these files to your desktop, and then you upload them either to your next semester course that you're teaching, maybe upload these into your live summer course, or if you would prefer, email any of us in the CTL, request a development course, and we can create a sandbox course for you to play around with so that you can explore these templates. Okay, so we're going to log into Canvas and explore template number 2. To access Canvas, you go to learn.maricopa.edu and use your credentials to log in. After you log into Canvas, access the course that you use to import the CTL template. For this training, I'm going to demonstrate the course template and some course design ideas using template number 2. The first thing that I want you to think about is how important it is that students know and have access to what it is that they're supposed to do as soon as they log into Canvas, into your course. And there's really are just a couple of design things that you want to think about so that students know what they're supposed to do as soon as they log in. The one thing to consider is this navigation menu. And the way that the navigation menu is set up is everything at the top here, students can see. Everything at the bottom where the I is crossed out, students cannot see. As the instructor, you have access to it, but your students do not. When you import the CTL templates into your course, so you've decided if you're going to use template 1 or template 2, import it into your course, the navigation menu will automatically set for you. If you decide to change this menu, you scroll down to the bottom of the navigation menu and click on Settings. At the top of the page, there's a series of tabs. Click on the Navigation tab. And for example, maybe I've decided I'm going to use WebEx instead of Cranium Cafe. So I would drag Cranium Cafe down here, scroll to the bottom, and click Save. And now the students have access to see WebEx only. When I click on Home, it's going to take me to course modules. And the reason is that if I'm using the asynchronous design, the anywhere design, I've designed my course in modules, which means that's the most important place for students to go. So I've decided that my home page is going to be the course modules. To change your home page, on this button on the right-hand side, click on Choose Home Page, and you can select what you want the home page to be. Because I've made the modules my home page, I've actually hidden modules from this navigation menu. There's no reason to have it in two places for students to go when home is the modules. Another design idea to help students to navigate the course and to stay on top of communication is to set the home page so that recent announcements are visible to students. To do this, again, you can scroll down to Settings in the navigation menu, and then you'll want to click on Course Details, the first tab. You scroll down on Course Details to more options. You can either check or uncheck this box that says Show Recent Announcements on the course homepage. And I've decided I want students to see the 2 most recent announcements. Again, you would scroll down and click the Update Course Details. And then what happens is when the students are on the home page, they can see your 2 most recent announcements. Announcements are a space for me to get new information out to students or reminders that are generic to the course, maybe not specific details about an assignment. In this template, there's a Getting Started module. This is a standard design that we use in the CTL. It was developed through the e-learning department and CTL partnership. And in this Getting Started module, we have highlighted items in yellow for you to personalize. So take a look at everything in here. You can click on the Edit button and then make this page your own by changing everything highlighted in yellow or adding other text that you want to use. It's to welcome students to the course and to orient them to your design. The other pages in here, there are technology requirements, technical support tools, so that if students have questions, you can send them to this page so that you don't have to be the technology expert. We recommend a syllabus quiz. There's a intro yourself discussion. And then this is just an ongoing, if you have questions about the course that could benefit everybody in the class, students can ask questions. The other resource in template number 2 is a module template. Each module is set up with an overview page. And ideally, you can take the objectives that you wrote on your course mapping tool and paste them into your course overview page. Similar to the course overview page, all that you do to make this your own is click the Edit button, and then you can change the text. In this module template, there's also a note-taking assignment. So we had talked about ways for students to interact with materials. Here's a note-taking assignment, a recommendation that you might use. Again, if you want to use the assignment, you keep it published. If you don't, then you unpublish that assignment or delete it. And then in here, there's also pages with tutorials. So maybe you've decided that you want to hold some synchronous class discussions or some synchronous class time. So if I'm going to use WebEx, you can take a look at this page. You can give your students the link to your WebEx personal room, your Maricopa WebEx personal room. and the tutorials are already embedded in here for students to know how to use WebEx. I also have in here this topic presentation page. This is the same one that I showed you previously. So this is if you're going to write your own content, write your instructional materials. You can use this as a template for how you might lay out your page to teach in Canvas. And then finally, there are 3 different assignment templates: a quiz template, a discussion template, and an assignment template. And these are formatted in ways to help with the clarity of the assignment, the expectations. I will show you that for each one of these assignment templates, at the bottom, there's a link for technical support for students. I encourage you to leave this here so that if you have students post to a discussion and they're not familiar with how to do it, they can click on this link and then they would have access to Canvas tutorials. And the last thing I want to show you is if you choose to use this template, maybe plan out the number of units or modules that you're going to have. And before you edit these template pages, maybe create your next module, which will populate below the template. And then in each module, you should have an overview page. So you can simply duplicate this page and then drag it down to your new module. And now when you develop module 2, you'll already have a copy of the template for the module overview page to go in and now to introduce module 2. And last, if you haven't used Canvas before, once you've designed your course, you want to make sure you publish it. The default would be that that course is unpublished. Students can only access the course if it's published. So once the course is ready to go, click on that button. So thank you for attending this training session on online course design. Resource that I want to share with you is we are encouraging in the CTL and e-learning all online instructors for the summer to complete the MCC e-learning expectations micro-credential course. This will really set the stage for you for understanding just kind of college-wide expectations for what you can do in your course and for practices for online teaching. There are links in this presentation for you to access those micro-credential courses. They are available on the CTL website. So if you can't access it through this tutorial, at the bottom of the screen is the URL for you to go to access that course, where our goal is to reach 100% completion by May 15th. And if you've attended the online course planning workshop and now this online course design workshop, and you've decided to use the CTL course templates, either template 1 or template 2, to inform your course design, we're inviting you to schedule time for a one-on-one consultation to meet with a CTL or an e-learning designer and to get some feedback on your design. And if you do that, you can earn a $125 stipend.